Hello, welcome back. Today we have a last video in the I'm modifying my skid steer for this year series. Behind me is my SVL97 and today we're going to install a Cleanfix reversible fan. It might be needless to say, what you're about to see is for entertainment only. I do not claim to know what I'm doing, I'm just doing it. So if you care, sit along, enjoy the show. I'll follow the installation instructions to the letter, and pretty much the first step is to drill a small hole into the shroud as close to the radiator as possible. Now comes the part where I have to commit, because I have to get this thing off to install the flange. Whew. Man, getting this in was tough. Excuse the brief jump, we got a rain shower that was quite unexpected. So, I spared you me talking the bolts. They're all marked and torqued. I measured radial and axial runout, and axial was 0 and radial was like 0.06 millimeters, so that's perfect. And now I have to check for clearance. So the radiator belt right now is loose, so I can rotate it freely by hand. And I'm going to push the shrub in and then apply some pressure to rotate this, and then we're just going to double check. Unsurprisingly, nothing rubs. Totally what I would expect from a kit specific for the SVL97. Right, so the back of the machine I can basically close up. I have the fan installed. the flange installed, all tightened and torqued proper. That's fine. So now I have to snake the pneumatic line through, and I think the only place in this machine that has space for the controller is below the footrest, which means I'm going to basically take the entire foot panel out and then, you know, drill some holes into the chassis, because I have to mount this thing with some bolts. Okay. So the hose is already back there. Now I just have to snatch it. Alright, so you have to be a little bit creative fishing it through. What I ended up doing was putting some electrical tape around the end so I don't get gunk in there. And then I taped a TIG rod to it, because it's just a little bit more stiffer than the plastic pneumatic tube. And that stiffness is exactly what I needed to push it through the same path as some of the electrical wiring harness. And now I have the end here, and I can pull this all in and then continue with the rest of the wiring inside the cab, basically. Amazing. Okay. As you can see here, I was already in there a long time ago because I installed some sound dampening maps. They didn't do a thing. Nice. So plan is drill some holes here that align with the grid pattern, because this way I can put the mat down and I don't see the thing, because the mat has like a finger width of space here. And then just mount the pneumatic pump right here, basically, because then I can still access the air filter here. And I think that should work out nicely. There we go. And as you can see here, perfect spot. Next up, cut the hose, plug it in, and then I can reinstall everything and wire the cap up, and I think then we're pretty much done. I need to leave a little bit of slack on the hose, because when I pull the radiator out, I have to have a little bit of room, so I just cut it here. And I can't get it off anymore, so let's see how tight this gets, otherwise I'll cut it off again. Alright, I can rotate this. Good. Time to reinstall it all. There we go. Without you seeing this, you wouldn't even know anything is in here. Time to wire it up. I will run this wire up to that side of the wire harness and then stick it through right there where the joystick and the other wiring harness comes into the cab. Obviously this needs kind of a relay so that it only gets power when the machine is on. I have a relay. I just don't know where I can get my 12 volts from the starter just yet. So, but one thing at a time. Okay, behind it all, and there. All right, here it comes up, follows the wiring harness, and now I just have to get it in here. Alright, so this was very impossible to film, but you can see we're through back there. So I will zip tie this once more and then just run it up straight to the rocker switch. Alright, so you can see connector is wired up, I have power connected out. So here's my plan for this. Per the diagram, the switch needs to connect to ground also. So the gray goes to ground when I want to manually trigger it. Which means I think I'm going to get a Deutsch connector. Just a 4-pin connector. I have actually a box. And then I'll put a connector here. I just stash this away, and then I'll just wire ground and power to that connector with another side of the Deutsch connector. Okay. I connected a bullet here just to get the two grounds, one for the rocker switch and for the actual ground together, into one Deutsch connector. So it's here, red to red, black to black. And then I thought about it for a while, how I can get power here best. And this is the fuse box here. So I guess there are plenty of things I could just plug into. And then I decided to actually run a wire all the way back through the machine to a relay. Let me show you folks. So this is the wire I quickly threw together. I just need power and ground, because back here the original wire harness already has a relay sitting. So my hope is that I can just stuff a second relay next to it and tap into the same keyed power source just by opening up the harness here directly just a little bit, and then that might just work out. So anyways, let's see if that works for me. So this is now later. I closed up all the electrical stuff here. As you can see, I have the Cleanfix fan here, the button, and all that does is reverse it manually. You can see nothing else in this cab. All the wiring runs inside the panels. Because I had trouble getting the 12 volts that I needed at a consistent power to trigger the relay, I pulled it from the lighter on the other side. And yeah. The fan is installed. You can see nothing here except my new, if you can see this at all, the new power cable. The relay is actually in the cab and not back here, because I didn't find a reliable power source back here. Alright, now that you've seen what it does, you might be wondering, Raphael, why do you need such a thing? Well, this is all just to make my life easier in regards to maintenance. So the Cleanfix fan basically automatically will reverse the way I have set it up. Every 30 minutes it'll just push all the gunk back into the engine bay, and then that will settle on the ground, but it won't settle on the radiator. And with me being in the bushes a lot, this actually helps a ton with keeping grass and small leaves and, you know, wood chips and everything out of the radiator, because it's a pain to clean. So, I mean, cleaning the belly is not fun either, but at least it's easier than cleaning the radiator. So, there you have it, folks. Quick installation. Shout out to the guys from Cleanfix. It's an amazing fan, and it's an easy installation even for a novice like me. So, yeah, thank you so much for sticking around. See you in the next one.